Just gonna see how long this little thing stays where it's supposed to stay, because I don't have faith that it's gonna stay the whole time I'm recording here. Hello loves, it's me, Anjuli, and today I wanted to talk to you about the honest truth about being a disabled content creator, because I've been doing this for a few years, and more recently as a disabled person, and there are some really real things that have been happening. If you don't know, I am deaf in both my ears. I was actually born deaf, and previously when I made content, I didn't really talk about it because at that time I was pretty stuck in the mindset that my disability didn't define me, you know, which very age-old ableist kind of thinking that because I'm disabled, the best thing I can do is pretend it doesn't make me different. But it does. It does make me a little bit different. And so I started talking about it in bits and pieces until I decided to release a video of me singing at last, and it went viral on TikTok. And if you want to learn more about that kind of everything that went into that, I will link the video down below, but that video kind of opened up a whole treasure trove of me becoming a disabled content creator or a deaf content creator. Now, I also want to clarify that my experience is probably different than other people's experience who are disabled in different capacities, or even just in the deaf atmosphere. I think that we should all understand by this point, everybody has their own unique experience in these grand files of experiences. So please don't take everything I'm saying as like Bible and this is exactly how it's going to be. If you are just a content creator looking for, you know, somebody else's experience, or if you are disabled and thinking about being a content creator, just because this is my experience does not mean it has to be yours. I just feel like there are certain things that I was anticipating in becoming a disabled content creator that I saw come to fruition. Now I'm like, okay, I don't love this, but here we are, and I have to talk about it. So one of the biggest things that I have had to deal with is majority of my audience still isn't disabled. So I am having to deal with being seen through the eyes of people who are able-bodied and look at my experience as it's aspirational or something so different and unfathomable, and it's beautiful and it's romanticized and it's, you know, this great big thing of difference. And honestly, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate the comments. I hate this comment so much. I wish you could only hear how beautiful you are because this is so beautiful, or whatever. Or I wish that you could experience like the way that I experience life. There ain't nothing wrong with the way I experience life and with the way that I perceive hearing things. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong. I am very, very fulfilled in my life. My life is still very beautiful, very colorful. It sounds very colorful, even if I'm not perceiving sound the same way that you who can hear through your ears are. And it's a very unique thing because I sound like a jerk. I'm aware that I kind of sound like a jerk when I'm like, can you please just stop saying that stuff? I understand the sentiment behind it, even being like, I wish that you could appreciate this the same way that I am, and because you can't hear, you're probably not appreciating it the same way. But y'all, it is such an ableist thing to say. And being a disabled content creator means that my audience isn't mostly disabled. It's still majority able-bodied people, or at least able-bodied in that they can hear. So I am still having to be seen through a filter of ableness, and I hate it. I honestly really dislike it. I don't love it because I can't just exist. I can't just exist. Everything I do is being seen through this able-bodied lens. So everything I do has to come with a disclaimer, an explanation of, first off, this isn't everybody who's deaf shared experience. Also, the way that I do things may be different from yours. It's not wrong, it's just different. Like, I have to give so many disclaimers, I feel like, because I am now this trope. I'm helping in the trope of disabledness. And really, I would love it so much if I just had other disabled people or other deaf people around me that could be like, girl, same. Same. I understand exactly where you're coming from. I understand exactly, like, I wish I had other people validating my experience who were just like me, you know, instead of having to be seen through an abled lens. And this kind of plays into the thing I was just talking about, but the other thing that kind of sucks about being just really a content creator in general is the fact that everything I do is online and it feels kind of void and fleeting and meaningless. And I am saying this is a content creator thing because I don't know that there are very many jobs that you will wear where you don't have coworkers, you don't really have anybody to respond or answer to. Your best bet is honestly, like, if you're working a job the way that I do, you're pretty isolated most of the time. You're not really around other people. And there are so many people that will look at what you're saying, but it's harder to have that connection unless humans are very, very social creatures, and it's hard when I don't get that real life social interaction to really know who these people are behind all of these comments. So everything I do kind of feels like meaningless to some degree, but I still have to act as if everything I do is kind of important. And it makes me, as you know, just as me as a content creator, feel like I don't want to add to noise. So I feel very, very hesitant about making content sometimes because I'm like, is this just adding to noise? Does this have a purpose? Does this have a meaning? Does this mean something if I create it? And not everything has to have meaning, but I know that I wanted to make a purpose. I know that I wanted to make a mark on something. And so I don't want to make content that's just feeding into some consumerist, propaganda-ish, MLM kind of-ish agenda. But I also don't want to just get online and start dancing because that's not me at all. And so I'm having to deal with this like weird feeling of like, what is the purpose of what I'm doing? What does anything that I'm doing mean? And then it kind of just makes me not want to do anything. And unfortunately, as a content creator, your job is to make stuff. You don't make money unless you make stuff. And so I still have to try and make myself make stuff. It is hard. It is hard to just not feel like you're just adding to noise. And then being disabled on top of it, I feel like I want to reach so many more people like me, but oftentimes I'm just reaching the abled masses. And then I feel kind of like, well, this isn't really who I wanted to make content for anyway. I have no problem making content for able-bodied people, but I really, really just wanted to stand up for representation. I have it in most of my bios. Representation is key, and I wanted other people like me to see other people like me doing the things that I like to do, so we could all see that it is possible for us to just do the things that we want to do despite, you know, whatever our disability is. And so sometimes it just feels like existing online is just null. Like, what is the point? And so 2 days ago, this is actually a nice story. 2 days ago, I was out celebrating a birthday for a friend, and I had an interaction with a man that I just cannot shake and do not ever want to shake for the life of me, because it's actually inspiring me to put out this video today. I had to put in a little bit of like keywords there with being a deaf or a disabled content creator, because at the end of the day, we all still have to feed these algorithms. But this is the true point of this video. This is the true meaning of this video. Is I ran into somebody 2 nights ago, and he came up to me and he saw my Business Insider interview, which I will also link that down below if you haven't read it yet. I can't believe people wanted to write an article about me. You know, who am I? You know, truly, seriously. Anyway, so this guy, he was deaf, he was much older, like he could be my dad, and he was just not somebody that I would ever expect to have this kind of interaction with, to be honest. So when he had told me that he read my Business Insider interview, I honestly did the same thing that I do anytime somebody says that to me, because I don't know how to handle myself in those moments, and I just say, oh, well, thank you so much, and probably with that voice too, because once again, I'm literally just a person who is, I'm standing here talking to a camera. I don't interact with people on a daily basis. I'm very awkward and very weird in real life. So I just did the usual well-rehearsed spiel in my head. He continued on to tell me his story about how he is the boss of like 40 some odd people, and he became deaf at the age of 5, and he works soundboard at another local bar, and that he was really, really, really touched by my video, the things that I'm doing for the deaf community. He felt really, really resonated with him because he is, like I mentioned, also deaf, but he also doesn't sign like I don't sign. And that once again goes back to the time period that we were in. Sign was not a standard thing. People taught it, but unless you were around a deaf community, most of the time they just told you assimilation, or they sent you off to a special school. He was telling me that he really, really appreciated what I was doing and showing everybody that deaf people are just like everyone else. I started to get pretty emotional about it, and he started to tear up too, and I think honestly that's partially what made me start to get emotional about it, because I could just tell that from a genuine place of sincerity, he felt really, really seen. And I started to get choked up at the idea that I was for him what I wanted somebody to be for me. And I had never had that moment until probably a couple months ago when I finally watched America's Next Top Model with the season with Niall in it. That was the closest I've ever gotten to seeing somebody and being like, I know what he's experiencing, because Niall does know sign, and from what I understand, and I didn't do too much research about it, but he also doesn't speak, and he was put in this house with all these models who were constantly cutting off his form of communication, which I'm not laughing at that, but like I'm laughing at the audacity of people just not wanting to understand somebody who lives in close proximity to them. Like the gall, honestly. But that was the first time that I'd ever seen somebody experience being deaf and not feeling like I'm a part of something, or feeling like he's not a part of something. And it got me emotional watching that. And to know that there's somebody else that is having that same reaction watching me, I don't know how to explain that. And like I said, one of the things about being online is that there are people that are going to be, there are comments from other people that are deaf, and it means a lot. But I think once again, we get so wrapped up in online stuff that, especially when you are an online creator, that when somebody says something like that to you face to face, it's a very weird feeling, because all of a sudden this is home. This is at home. And I'm so grateful for the World Wide Web, and I'm so glad, did I just sound ancient there? Why did I say the World Wide Web? I'm so grateful for the internet and the fact that I can connect with so many people at once. But in that moment, I was so grateful that I was able to connect with somebody who was nearby, who got to see that there's somebody right next door that is experiencing life the same way that they are. And it was just such a moment of like, humbling, and it brought me down to earth, and it made me realize like I didn't know what to do. And logically, yes, I should keep singing, but I think that really, really gave me a sense of purpose. Was I am meant to be seen so that others feel seen as well. And so despite every single problem or truth or reality of being a disabled content creator, I think it's worth it. I think it's absolutely 100% worth it, because you just never know who needs to see you doing a damn thing. You never know who needs to see somebody else just like them out there. So if you wanted to sign, if you should post that video or make that post or tell your story or share the fashion or start that business, whatever it is, I 100% implore you, no matter your disability or not, to go out there and do it, because you just never know who needs to see that. I never thought, some older man was going to get something out of me existing. Something I can talk about on the internet without being censored. But I did. I do. I do. And that means so much to me. And it means the world to me that you chose to click on this video and watch me and listen to me tell this story. And I really genuinely hope that you just get out there and follow your dreams and do whatever you need to do. Because if anything, this inspired me. That man inspired me to go and follow mine. And that's this video. I hope that you got something great out of this. Please, please, please let me know down below what you would like to see. I think I'm gonna start telling some of my stories because y'all, I got a treasure trove of stories, some of them being death related, some of them not, but they are all, I'm at this point, I'm almost 30. I'm at the point now where I can start telling stories and they are funny, okay? I'm no longer mortified by my past. And yeah, so please let me know down below what you would like to see from me. And I absolutely love and adore you. And I hope that you stay subscribed. I hope that you join me on this journey. And until next time, bye.